In the bustling town of Abakuta, where the sun kissed the red soil and the laughter of children echoed through narrow streets, two sisters, Amaka and Efioma, lived under the same roof yet worlds apart in heart. Amaka the elder was known for her fiery temper and pride. She carried herself as though she bore the weight of 1,000 unspoken grievances, while Efioma, her younger sister, radiated warmth and kindness, always ready to lend a hand to neighbors, friends, and even strangers. No one could understand why Amaka seemed to harbor such deep resentment toward Efioma. From childhood, she would sabotage her sister's happiness in small ways, spilling secrets, twisting words, or making sure Efioma never got the praise she deserved. Their mother, Madame Abi, often scolded her, but Amaka would only smile, her eyes hiding storms. The community whispered behind their backs, wondering what dark seed had taken root in her heart. Their home was modest but warm, a single-story house with walls painted in faded ochre and windows that rattled when the harmattan winds blew. In the mornings, the smell of roasted yam and pepper soup would drift from the kitchen, mixing with the earthy scent of the soil after a fresh rain. Madame Obi, a woman of strong character and gentle hands, had always tried to balance her attention between her daughters, but she had a soft spot for Efioma, who reminded her of the child she had lost long ago. As they grew older, Efioma thrived despite her sister's constant undermining. She became a talented seamstress, earning respect and love from the community. Her hands could transform plain fabrics into intricate Ankara dresses and wrappers, which villagers admired and proudly wore during festivals. Amaka, however, struggled to find her footing, always comparing herself to Efioma's successes. Yet beneath her jealousy lay a secret no one suspected, a secret buried deep in the shadows of her past. Amaka's resentment festered quietly but persistently. She envied the way neighbors would praise Efioma's embroidery, how men would tip their hats in respect when she passed, and the effortless smiles she drew from strangers. Even during cultural festivals like the Igungun Masquerade, when the town came alive with music, drumming, and colorful masks, Amaka's eyes would burn with jealousy as Efioma's work adorned the performers. No one dared ask why Amaka's heart carried such bitterness, for she hid it behind polite smiles and practiced indifference. One humid afternoon, news arrived that shook their village. Their distant uncle, a wealthy man they had never met, had passed away, leaving behind a grand estate. The family gathered under the old Iroko tree in their courtyard to discuss inheritance. Villagers peered from afar, curious about the unfolding drama. The lawyer's words fell like stones. Efioma was the primary beneficiary. Amaka's face twisted with barely contained fury. How could life favor her sister yet again? She stormed out of the meeting, vowing she would never let Efioma outshine her. Weeks passed, and the tension between the sisters grew unbearable. Amaka began to plot in silence, her mind a labyrinth of schemes, each more malicious than the last. She spread rumors that Efioma's embroidery was copied from others, tried to undermine her reputation in the market, and even convinced a few customers to buy from her instead. Yet, no matter what she did, Efioma's kindness seemed unshakable. She smiled, forgave, and continued to work diligently. One night, during a violent thunderstorm, a stranger appeared at their door, a frail, elderly woman drenched by rain, clutching a worn leather satchel. She introduced herself as Mama Nika, claiming to have once been close to their mother during her youth. The sisters, guided by a mix of curiosity and hospitality, invited her in. The storm outside rattled the windows, sending shadows dancing across the walls, but inside, the warmth of the hearth offered comfort. As the rain pounded the roof, Mama Nika shared stories of the past, tales of love, betrayal, and family secrets long hidden. She spoke of their mother, Madame Obi, as a young woman full of dreams and hopes, whose heart had been broken by a tragedy that no one in the family had ever mentioned. Amaka listened, her heart thudding with unease. She could sense the story was meant for her, though she did not yet understand why. Then Mama Nika revealed the truth that would unravel everything. Amaka was not the firstborn of Madame Obi. When Amaka was just a baby, their mother had lost her first child, a girl, to a tragic illness. Overwhelmed with grief, she had adopted Amaka from a distant relative, hoping to fill the void. But in the depth of her sorrow, she inadvertently transferred all her dreams, expectations, and hopes onto Efioma, her biological daughter. Amaka felt her world tilt. Every act of jealousy, every pang of envy, had been fueled by an invisible wall she never knew existed. She had always felt inferior, yet she had never understood why. Tears streamed down her face as the pieces fell into place. The resentment that had poisoned her heart was not born of malice alone. It was the silent ache of invisibility, the longing for a love she believed was reserved only for Ephioma. The revelation triggered memories she had buried deep. She remembered the birthday parties where Ephioma received lavish gifts while she got hand-me-downs, the school competitions, where her sister's name was always called first, the festival dances where her own efforts seemed unnoticed. Now each moment gained a new meaning. Her heart ached not just for envy, but for the years lost in misunderstanding and bitterness. That night, in the flickering candlelight, Amaka confessed everything to her sister. Ephioma, with her gentle spirit, embraced her tightly, whispering words of forgiveness. They cried together, a release of years of tension and misunderstanding. From that moment, a fragile but promising bridge formed between them, a promise that they would face life as sisters, not rivals. The days that followed were filled with small acts of reconciliation. Amaka helped Ephioma weave Ankara fabrics, learn new embroidery techniques, and even manage customers at the market. Villagers marveled at the transformation, noting how the once bitter Amaka now laughed and shared stories with the same warmth she had once reserved for herself alone. Festivals were celebrated with new joy. Amaka danced beside Ephioma, her hands no longer trembling with envy, but moving in rhythm with love. Together, the sisters organized a special event for the village during the New Yam festival. They combined Ephioma's craftsmanship with Amaka's creativity, decorating the town square with colorful patterns, handcrafted masks, and vibrant tapestries. Elders blessed them, children laughed, and musicians played drums late into the night. For the first time, Amaka felt the sweetness of shared success, the joy of contributing without envy, and the warmth of being truly seen. Months later, the sisters opened a small boutique in the town, showcasing both Ephioma's sewing skills and Amaka's designs. Tourists and villagers alike admired the store, calling it a symbol of unity and sisterhood. The sisters had become inseparable, their bond strengthened by truth, forgiveness, and the wisdom of Mama Neka's visit. Even Madame Obi, who had quietly watched their transformation, wept with happiness, knowing her daughters had finally found each other. Life in Abakuta continued, but with a new rhythm. The sisters laughed freely, helped neighbors, and shared meals under the Iroko tree that had witnessed their childhood quarrels. Amaka no longer measured herself against her sister, but celebrated her uniqueness. And Ephioma, always kind, never reminded her of past hurts but honored the journey they had walked together. As the sun set over Abakuta, casting golden light across the red earth, the sisters stood side by side, their laughter echoing like a song of new beginnings. They knew life would continue to challenge them, but they were no longer alone. The bitterness that had once defined Amaka had dissolved, replaced with love, understanding, and a promise that family bonds could overcome even the deepest wounds. And so, if you were moved by Amaka and Ephioma's journey, and the lessons of forgiveness, resilience, and the power of truth, don't forget to subscribe and share this story. Let the world know that even the deepest rivalries can turn into bonds stronger than any misunderstanding, and that love and forgiveness can truly change lives.